Good morning. Today is the 15th of September 2023 and it's quad witching day today, which means might be some unusual activity in the market, so something to be wary of. First going to just recap today's plan. On my screen at the moment is the MES S&P index futures. It's the 1 hour time frame. I'm going to start on the daily first. So as we can see, just get my pen open. So we can see we're in a bit of an uptrend, and we changed the trend. This is a change of trend as we broke through that pivot there. Higher high, higher low, made an equal high almost, and then we pulled back for a lower low, and then we've broken through and made a higher high. So we could do with a bit of a pullback today. Nice to see one. If we do see a pullback, then potentially we could be looking around the 15 to 20 moving average, so we may pull back down that area. But we are in an uptrend, so we've got to be looking for a break and retest and continuation of the trend. So technically where we are right now, which is a daily level I had on watch yesterday, 45.50, is a potential area for a bounce. Going into the hourly, so I've marked this area. In fact, we have bounced exactly in that area. So this is our bounce area. It's a very high risk and it's a pre-market area, so I would probably personally want to wait now. There's no news at 8:30. We've got a little bit of news at 9:15 soon, so bear that in mind. 2 out of 3, so it could make the market move a bit. And anything of high importance today? 10 AM we've got the Michigan consumer sentiment, so keep an eye out for 10 AM today. If you're in a trade, just be a bit wary. And then we've got a bit later on, but nothing. So the major ones are at 9:15, coming up in about 10 minutes time, and 10 AM Eastern time. Okay, so back to the MES again. So the levels for today, I'm going to go through my higher probability and lower probability ones. Firstly, I'm waiting for a bounce to come back down to this area here, and that will be at 45.39, 75, 49.40 area. So looking for a bit of a pullback down to here for a bounce, and it'll be off of that 50, this 50 moving average as well. And we've touched this area a few times. I'm not sure if we go back a bit further. Okay, so yeah, and it's the top of this this area here as well. We touched it there. We couldn't hold it. We pushed through twice, and both times rejected. Came back up a couple of times there. Came back up there. Rejected it again. So potentially we could be looking for a potential bounce. So that's a higher probability bounce based on the previous times where it was where it rejected quite big rejections. We've got a big rejection there, massive rejection off of there, and obviously we've rejected down there as well. So that's an area to watch for, which is the break and retest of this uptrend. So we came up, pushed up, and we're coming back down to retest. So 45, 48, 45.50, that area, this entire area here. So 45.40 I meant, hang on. Yeah, 45.50 we're watching. So 45.48 is that area I marked because of the pivot high there, and that was a daily area from yesterday as well, which we were watching. Potentially at higher risk. It's a high risk bounce right now, and not much I want to take right now, but maybe if we come back down, retest it, double bottom, push up for a high risk bounce, or if we see weakness, push through, break and retest again. It's a high risk trade, so something to be wary of. So that's the two levels I'm watching, and we've got a potential rejection area here, 45.61 through to 45.66. If I go back a bit, and we've got area of confluence as well, so anything over 45.83 would be a good stop loss. So if we do push up and we get up to 45.80, then with a tight stop loss at 45.83, we could see a rejection of that area. So that's an area that's a higher probability rejection. If we grind up, and when I say grind up, I mean if we see lots of little candles and there's no big moves, and then finally we get into it, we may see a bit of a rejection, but it's going to be difficult to short on an uptrend, but we could be waiting for a breakthrough and then a retest. So more, if we come back down to this area, then that will be the area we want to try and get in, break and retest at 45.80, and so that's a higher probability play. And I would say this rejection will be a lower probability if we see a big, if we see the move, if we see some big moves up. Let's go back to square. So if we see a couple of big moves up and then we go through and we put on a topping tail, then that would be a good area to get in as well, and that's with confirmation as well. So there's two possible plays for 45.80. So there's a break and retest if we see a grinding up day, or a rejection if we have some big moves. A bit like this candle we're seeing here, this big red candle, but we want to see similar move upwards. So for example, previous days, like these two candles here, when it hit that rejection area, that's what we're looking for. So they're two big moves up, and what we're not looking for is, for example, there's been a few grinding days. There is some examples here. For example, here's a good example, but in the opposite direction. We're grinding down, and then there's a rejection area. It did reject, but you have to be quite tight with your stops, and it carried on grinding down through the levels. So that's what we want to avoid, because the slow days, the slow moving days, is harder, and the any sellers up here would just get eaten up because of the low to high liquidity. Looking at the volume as well, an area I do quite like is if we come back down to 45.18, this area here, and that's purely because of the extra volume which we've seen through this point of control and through here. So if we are looking for a bounce, let's just readjust this one. I'm going to say 45.27 to 45.30 for a potential bounce, and that's purely based on, well, I just use the tops and bottoms of these candles along here and tops of candles here, and we've got that big point of control as well, this big volume, congested area of volume. So if we do get back down here, we may see a bit of a bounce back up, and if we break below this level, volume starts to tail off a bit, and below this area we've got low volume, so look, hardly any volume there, so we could potentially look to fill this gap. I think that's it really for MES. So just to recap, the higher probability, we've got higher probability rejection off of 45.80 if we see a couple of big moves up, and else it's a break and retest long. We've got a high risk bounce right now at 45.48, 45.48 to 45.50, and that's high risk. And we've got a higher probability, but with confirmation, bounce off of 45.40 to 45.38 area, and that's what this is the area I'm really watching for. That's the trade I'm going to go for, and that's because we've got areas of, we've got congested volume below, and we've got potential pivots above as well. So, and we've got the 50 moving average. So that's the main area I'll be watching today. And if we see further weakness, then we've got 45.27 to 45.30 as a potential bounce as well. And of course, it goes without saying, if we are selling off and we're looking for bounces, then possibly a break and retest of the areas low. So looking for continuation plays on whatever the current trend is. So the current trend right now, we just zoom out, we're in an uptrend on the hourly. To break the hourly uptrend, we would need to break this pivot here and come down, pull back and confirm. So that's, yeah, we'd have to break, that's definitely the pivot, we need to break that area there. So we're still in an uptrend until that area is broken. Okay, so moving on to SPY and going back to MES, and I said it was a high risk bounce because it tried and now it's breaking through. So like I said, definitely high risk of that area. So SPY, so we got pre-market high 449.60 through to 450 as a potential rejection area. Better if we can get up to 450.71, and then with 451 will be the stop. And we've got higher concentrated volume up here as well. Not quite as high volume, the point of control's down here as well. So this is acting as a potential target area if we do see weakness today. So that's a potential rejection up here for basically 450.50 to 450.70. This is a higher risk rejection, but a break and retest if we push up long 449.60. I quite like this area, but we've already broken through it. But potentially this is the area to watch for a bounce. Where are we now? We're at 448 area as a potential bounce, and we're right at that area, and purely that's because we're on the 200 moving average, we've got the 50 moving average, and we've got this pivot here, and it's an area of confidence as well. So bottom of those candles where we became the ceiling, we tried to break through it, pushed back up, and then finally broke down, and we weren't able to get through it this time. Pushed up, we did get through it, and potentially we could see it bounce. And again, if we do see potential, it's my oil alert, let's come back to that in a minute. If we do see a big sell-off, there may be a break and retest of the 200 for potential target down here at 445. So that's a two-way play, a potential bounce, high risk bounce, but we have got the 200 moving average and 50 there, and we've got a break and retest, which is high risk, but wait for confirmation. And then we've got this area of confluence as well down here at 445.80. So tops of candles, bottoms of candles, bottoms of candles. I don't know what this is. This is just one of those funny, is it an 8 AM candle or whatever, one of those funny candles you get. But maybe keep a note of that area because sometimes it can have some significance. And so this is an area for potential bounce as well, and that area is 446.80 through to 447. And if we do see big sell-off today, it has to be a day like this or a day like this one over here, then we've got this supply area and this demand area down at 443. So this potential area for potential bounce. Okay, that's SPY. Looking at Qs. Don't forget, if you like these videos, please hit the like button as well, and hopefully get a few more viewers, and that'll help the Google or the YouTube algorithms. So we're looking, this area is still in play from yesterday, and potentially a retest of this area short, and that is 377 area, 376.98, 377. So that's what we're watching for a potential short. And we've got this area here where we are right now, which you can see where the bounce is, but we've already broken these areas here, so it's not as in play as it was, but we have got higher congested volume around this area as well. So this is an area congested volume, so that's why I quite like the break and retest short on this one. But we have got the 20 moving average and the 200 moving and the 50 moving average coming in. So potentially 374, let's put some lines in. This area here, the reason I chose that level, and I always look to the left, is tops of candles, bottoms of candles, bottoms of candles, tops of candles, bottoms of candles, tops, bottoms, an area of confluence. And so if we come back down to here, potentially we could see a bounce, and it will work out quite well because we've got the 50 and the 200, the 50 and the 200 moving average at the same point. So this is an area to watch for on the Qs for a bounce. And again, like the other ones, if we break down, we can use break and retest of these levels. I quite like 374 as well. So let's just add a line in there. And 374. That area there. And that is 374. Closer to 375. You know what, scrap that one because it's too close to the 200 moving average. So just those levels, we want to see the bigger moves. We'll be fighting over the small move there. To break the downtrend on this, let's just zoom out a bit. We can see we're in a bit of an uptrend. We would need to break through 373, that area there. So we want to break through, pull back, and then break down, and that will confirm the downtrend. And obviously we're in an uptrend, so we could be looking for a break, retest of this area of 377 long as well. Possible target areas if we go long would be high the pre-market, which is also this high here, so there's no coincidences. Which saying that level is 378.44. This area here at 379.20, and that's a potential rejection because it's the top of the head and shoulders, this left shoulder and right shoulder. So potentially that's an area we could watch for rejection, and 380 with a stop at this high, which will be at 381.05 for another rejection up here as well. So a couple of areas. The higher risk ones are the ones closest to where we are now. So higher risk bounce would be there, but with confirmation, and we've got the 200 below, makes it slightly higher probability. And we've got the higher risk rejection at 378 as well. Okay, so looking at NASDAQ, lastly, and then we've got oil next. NASDAQ's the same as Qs. We've got to really break down through this area here for us to be in a downtrend. So this area here. So we need to get below 15,400 for us to start a downtrend. So we had this area marked up for the last couple of days. We broke through it yesterday, came back down. We're down to that area now. So potentially, if we come back up to 15,652, then we could see a push back down. Bear in mind we've got the 50 moving average there, which we're just coming up to right now, and we've closed below it as well, or barely below it. So potentially we could be, if we do pull back up here, then where could our target be? We've got this concentrated volume. It's got to be down this area here for target, and then maybe the bottoms of these candles here as well. So I don't really play the NASDAQ that much, but I just do like to keep an eye on it, because when the ES is going sideways, I'd like to have some other plays to watch. So let's put some levels in as well so we can monitor these. So we've got that area there we just discussed, and that works out. Look at that. So even though I said that area, you can see there's no coincidence at all, because they're the tops of candles here, bottoms of candles as well. The next area will be there. So just zoom in so you can see the levels, and this is our break of the downtrend as well if we get down there. Okay, and finally oil. My alert just triggered. I had this area I'm watching, so potentially I'm looking to go long shortly. I'll have a look at that once I finish this video. So 89.57 was the area I'm watching for a long. Been watching it. It's not really the long I want to take. That's just from the high. what I really want to take is this level here at 88 to 87.80. So hopefully we see a bit of a sell-off down to this 200 moving average. That's what I really want to see, because the daily, if we look at the daily right now, we're quite extended, very extended, and we're due a pullback. So taking that, in my opinion, is higher risk. Taking that is probably higher risk, but with confirmation we have got, it will come back to the 8 moving average eventually at that point. But this is the level I'm really watching, 84, 84, and that's a higher probability, and that will hopefully be off of the 20 moving average. And better still, we get down to here, which is the bottom of that pivot. It will be around about 80, yeah, between 78, 80 through to 80, 20 area, and that would be a nice high probability play as well. And that's just looking at this highly congested area, which is, we can see that because of the volume profile, all this area is buying and selling, where we had quite a few months of indecision in this area, so hence the concentrated volume, especially on the peaks. And then we finally broke through this area, and I was watching that and I missed it, a bit annoyed with myself, and I was preoccupied, and by the time I realised we were about here, so, and I was chasing it, so hence why I'm waiting for this pullback. So watching, so we're at a higher risk area right now, not what I want to take. 84 is the area I'm really watching for, potentially 88 as well, so that's an area to watch. I've got my, in fact this is the area more with higher probability of bouncing. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll just go back onto the MES again, just so you can see the levels and where we are right now. Having a bit of a sell-off in the pre-market. Where's my levels gone? I've got the daily. I'll go back to the hourly. Here we go. So that's the where we are right now. So potentially watching this area here. That's what I'm waiting for, and that is 45.40. And I'm going to put some orders in, limit orders in right now for that. Okay, thanks for watching, and hopefully have a good day trading. And I will see some of you in our Discord server. Okay, thanks for watching.